Oh yeah, look at me and my doors. Yes. Oh, oh, hey. Come on. Ow. Oh. So you're probably wondering why this idiot has bought another fancy Lamborghini, a man who's built his entire YouTube channel on buying hoopties. So why have two? Why have another one? Well, don't let this pretty face fool you. This is probably the biggest hoopty I have ever purchased. More on that in a bit, but just as a hint, let's roll that beautiful bean footage. Yeah, I am quite screwed, and honestly, I wasn't seeking out to purchase a very broken 2006 Lamborghini Murcielago Roadster. I was shrewdly negotiated into it by my friend Ed Bolian at VinWiki. He bought this beautiful car for only $76,000, which makes it the cheapest Lamborghini Murcielago in the world, beating out Tavares with his fast and furious orange Murcielago. But Ed, being the shrewd negotiator, sold it to me with a very hefty finder's fee, which puts me way far above what Freddie paid for his car. So he's still technically the winner, or really Ed is. Ed always wins. His finder's fee was more than half the cars I purchased outright in the hoopty fleet, so he always wins. But anyway, I got this thing for under $100,000, and that is so cheap that my credit union, who was financing this thing, wondered why it's so cheap. They had me personally guarantee that this Murcielago runs and drives. It hadn't been on fire before or fallen into the ocean underneath a glacier after it was chasing a nuclear submarine, and that's all true. Even better, it only has 17,000 miles on it, and it has a clean Carfax. So getting this for under 100 grand seems too good to be true. I could understand their skepticism, but it really is a great deal if the repairs don't bankrupt me. But before we get into the issues, let's explore why the Murcielago is so special. Really, it's the last of the lineage of V12 Lamborghinis, crazy V12 Lamborghinis that started with the Miura in 1966. Most people don't count the Aventador that followed the Murcielago as being a true, crazy, nuts Lamborghini just because it's too civilized. It has too much German influence. So this carries on the lineage of the Miura, the Countach, and the Diablo. But for the most part, those were all losers from Lamborghini. The original founder of Lamborghini sold the company when it was near bankruptcy, and then the next owner actually put the company into bankruptcy, and then it found 3 more homes since then, eventually ending up with Volkswagen Group, where it still is today. Now, this car's predecessor, the Diablo, was in production for over 10 years, the vast majority of the time that Lamborghini was hemorrhaging money. And when Volkswagen came in, they were finally able to tame the Bull brand. They produced the Gallardo, which was much more civilized, easier to mass produce, and they actually turned a profit again. But there was one problem with their acquirement of the word, of Lamborghini, and that was this. You see, in the late 90s, Lamborghini was already deep into development of a replacement of the Diablo, and they had actually already unveiled a concept to the public called the Canto. What a name. And they had already announced that they were going to produce this car, but the Canto wasn't well liked by the new bosses at Volkswagen. They thought it was kind of ugly. And I have to say, I agree with them. Italian design at the time was going all swoopy and smooth, and this Lamborghini was certainly going with that theme. It didn't look as aggressive as previous generations, not really worthy of the Countach and the Diablo, so I agree with the Germans there. But then they tapped a Belgium to redesign the car, and this was the result, which was very striking and different. And of course, being different means controversial. But as time passed, I think Lamborghini enthusiasts accepted this car, and it became one of the great poster cars of all time from my youth. And while it was designed by a Belgium under the tutelage of Germans, it is very Italian Lamborghini still underneath. Oh, struts are bad. Now, under the bonnet of this Murcielago is a V12 engine that dates back all the way to the beginning of Lamborghini. This is a very Lamborghini engine, and the interior looks like it was put together with very little thought. Typical Lamborghini, better than last generation's, but still. And then the creature comforts, very little thought given to that. They hide away most of the stuff. So this does feel like a real old Lamborghini. It got even weirder when they made the Roadsters that started in 2004. This is a 2006 model. As you can see, this top, it's not electric. It's not anything fancy at all. It is a toupee that you peel off kind of like a boat cover. Pop off these little snaps on the back. And then this side piece is just held on by Velcro, which leads to this frame part, which is totally removable. This is a multi-piece thing. And the toupee is off. Now you can take it apart even more so it fits in the front storage compartment, but I am not going to do that. With the roof off, you now have a front row seat to this beautiful V12 exhaust note. It's much lower than the coupe. The body lines are a little different on the top, and this hood hinge, it's opposite. On the coupes, it opens this way. And personally, I think the Roadster is way more interesting to look at. One of the most beautiful modern cars ever made, and it definitely accentuates the bat wings. Murcielago means bat in Spanish, and these things, they go up and down like bat wings based on the temperature of the car. Or there's a button that'll do it manually if you just want to show off, but unfortunately mine are stuck up. So these are stuck up. The doors, they don't want to stay up. These iconic Lamborghini scissor doors have the opposite problem. They do not want to stay up. They would like to be scissors and slice you in half as you get in the car. But honestly, some bat wings and door struts, that's the least of my worries with this car. So this creamsicle exterior has a matching creamsicle interior. Let's get in here rather quickly so the door doesn't slice me in half. I seem to be drawn to controversial interior styling choices. I personally like it, but look how basic and bare bones this interior is. That's not factory, that's just broken. You do have an Alpine stereo at least, and underneath here is the climate control. They have to hide that away. Don't want you to know you have any creature comforts in a Lamborghini. And then take a look at these totally useless map lights. There's no roof to mount them on. Oh, one works. And another thing I immediately noticed is this pull tab right here, which when you pull it away, it's a mount for a car seat. So the baby that's on the way, due March 19th, can ride along with me in the Murcielago. Now this interior is very crude, but it's not nearly as primitive as the Diablo or the Countach that came before it. And Lamborghini was trying to get up to the times a bit to keep up with Ferrari and other automakers. The biggest difference between this and the Diablo is the new transmission. The E-Gear automated manual transmission, which replaces the clutch pedal with a computer. A computer controls the release of the clutch. Same goes for the gear shifter. It is gone. In place are these buttons, and you shift using paddles on the steering wheel. This is one of the earliest iterations of it, and it's not known for its reliability, unfortunately. While I would certainly rather have a gated manual transmission in this car like I would in my Gallardo, unfortunately, it's not that common. Most people, when they bought these new, opted for this E-Gear automated manual gearbox. And what few manuals are out there, it's been discovered that they are very rare thanks to Edit VinWiki, and the prices have skyrocketed. So a manual transmission car can be worth double or triple that of an E-Gear car, and at that point, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth the big price increase. Even though I'm a manual fan, I'm not going to pay double or triple just to push a clutch in, and this can shift much faster than I could possibly shift a manual. But as I said earlier, this is not the most reliable transmission setup ever, so you can probably guess what is terribly wrong with this Murcielago. We'll take it out for a drive and you'll hear it, but first I gotta put the top back on. It's snowing outside. So when I start this Murcielago, I'm immediately greeted with my familiar friends, the check engine light and the airbag light, my homies, my amigos, but no big deal there. That's not the huge issue. The big issue is with this E-Gear transmission. I hit the paddle to go into gear and it goes into gear just fine. Maybe a little sluggish, but not too bad. The trouble starts when I start moving. The clutch engages, it starts moving, but then listen to that. It sounds like a knocking engine, but it's not. It's something with the transmission, because when I shift, there's second, the noise completely goes away. The car drives fine. Third, no noise, totally quiet. So the goal is not to stop, because it'll force you to shift down into first, and when you do, you have to hear that horrible, horrible noise. We're gonna come up to the main street here in a bit, and I will have to stop, and then we'll hear the noise again. Ugh. Oh, that's awful. But then we're in second, and everything's fine, and I can accelerate as hard as I want. It's cold outside, but I got the traction control. But it's fine. So the issue is not with the e-gear system itself, the issue is inside of the transmission most likely. The synchro, the gear is just shredded, I imagine. The transmission in this, internally, is identical to that of the manual transmission. So it may not be the e-gear's fault at all, it's just bad luck. So this is agonizing. I own a legitimate supercar, a Murcielago Roadster, a poster car of my dreams, but it's too scary to drive. Something is shredding inside of that transmission, and it's probably sending metal flakes and everything everywhere. It'll ruin the transmission the more I drive it, so I can't drive it until it's fixed. Dang it, I have to stop again. Okay. One more time, then we're heading home. First gear. Engaging. Oh, that noise. Shift. It's gone. Now it's fine. For me to talk. So I imagine fixing this is going to require some kind of transmission rebuild or replacement. I have no idea how much that's going to cost, but getting the transmission out requires removing the engine, removing everything from the inside. Oh, the top's coming down. I'll have to fix that. So this thing is very, very much a hoopty despite its price, and I'm probably going to be testing the very limits of my automotive masochism and my wallet to get this thing fixed, but super excited. So if you really want to beef up my automotive masochism, make it as strong as possible, enable my addiction by hitting the subscribe button. The Lamborghini will know it too and feel better if you hit that subscribe button. So please push that button, because next we're going to go to the car wizard, and he's going to find plenty of issues. In addition to the transmission, there's the check engine light, the airbag lights, the bat wings that don't work, and I'm sure he will find some other things. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, where we do a deep dive into this Murcielago and find out how much pain I'm in for. It's gonna be a lot of pain. Thank you for watching.